Yeah. Guys, welcome to Freaky Fridays with Devansh Patel.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Pleasure. Welcome. Thank you.
Let me introduce the writers here, who we have on the table. Robin Bhatt.
Yeah, that's Robin.
Mushtaq Shiekh, Milap Zaveri, Sajid-Farhad, and of course Sukhmani.
Which one is Sajid?
Please introduce yourselves. Sajid or Farhad?
You are less confident about it.
That's more of a mix-up of who's Abbas Mustan.
Sajid.
As long as you're not wearing white.
I think so, I'm Sajid.
They sit in order.
Great. Let me begin by asking you guys, what's the worst nightmare that a writer has?
Worst nightmare is on the eve of the release, and I sleep well.
You sleep well.
Yeah, that's the worst nightmare. So I'm not worried about the films.
Did you sleep well when your first film Ashiki was about to release?
No, everyone was awake. I was sleeping well.
Okay. Mushtaq?
Nightmare for a film writer would be, I think your work is judged by some strange creatures. I think that's the nightmare.
And you're
I think no. I mean, yeah, it's judged on Friday by strange creatures, and it's also judged by people who want to work in the movie or decide to be a part of the project. Because basically, we all guys are one of the guys who sit down, put pen to paper, and that's the first brick of the so-called movie that's going to come maybe a year later, or sometimes 2 or sometimes 4 or 5 years. So to make a set of people agree that this is the movie that need to be made, ought to be made, I think that's the biggest nightmare we all undergo. We all sit down, present the baby, make it talk, make it speak, and people see it, reject it, like it, dislike it. I think that's the biggest nightmare. Will it get its acceptance? Will it be set on,
I think I agree with Mushtaq a lot, especially with the fact of people who have no idea of writing or what works or what doesn't work, judging it and reviewing it, or having comments, nasty comments. But other than that, to add a different thought process, what I think scares most writers is actors changing their lines on set. I think it's really petrifying. And in fact, a few days back I went for a shoot, and there's a particular line which I was very adamant that this should be in the script, and there had been a bit of debate. So I went. That's the only day of shoot I went for, and the actor looked at me. तो इसीलिए आया ना ताकि ये लाइन मैं बोल दूँ आज कुछ भी करके ऐसा हाँ ये बोल दो जैसे बोलूँगा मैं निकल जाऊँगा ऐसे I think inherently that is a scary thing, that you work very hard and each word you write you think a lot about it, and sometimes people may want to tweak it and change it a bit, and if you not like we're rigid, we don't change, we do change, but sometimes certain things you want it said the way it's written, so then when people change that, it's scary.
I agree with both of my colleagues, absolutely what Mushtaq said and Milap. But initially, yes, when you ask like, is it a nightmare? It sounds negative. Nightmare ऐसा लगता है negative है. But मेरे ख्याल से उसमें positive भी बहुत है, because you're alert about the nightmare. So you're more alert. You have to present it well, as you said. Baby को पर तैयार क्या diaper पहनेगा किस तरह, and you work on it. So now, initially yes, it was like कोई ये बोल देगा, reject कर देगा. But now I think so. We both of us take it very positively. कि nightmare ही हमको makes you reach to the best. I feel. So having nightmare in any field, I mean to say, not only writing, anything, it's better to have a nightmare. I feel that keeps you on your toes. I feel.
Which is that one movie, Farhad, where you had sleepless nights?
Chennai Express. Because Chennai Express, actually it's a journey by itself. हम लोग as writers के काफी बड़ी long journey. It's been around 4 to 5 years we've been writing on the script. थोड़ा बहुत burner में चला गया था script. Then again it came out. Then we had some कि किसको star किसको ले casting wise. So then when Shah Rukh Khan came on board, so definitely keeping Shah Rukh Khan in mind, things do change. Absolutely. Although you don't want to change, but keeping Shah Rukh Khan's image, his romantic persona, this, तो उस हिसाब से हमने second half में काफी कुछ changes की, तो तब हाथ इधर था कि सही हो रहा है कि नहीं, because everything was at stake. Even Robin was with us.
So that journey was slightly Chennai Express का थोड़ा जो फिल्म में जो शाहरुख खान डर रहा था ना, हम लोग भी डर रहे थे. But eventually, God bless, everything worked out. But that was like sleepless night for us.
Chennai was one.
Sukhmani, you just entered the industry and you're a budding writer.
Yes.
And you get nightmares or you're more relaxed as a...
What kind of question is that?
I mean, I don't know.
Just
because I think...
I'm not supposed to get nightmares. I'm supposed
No, I
to
don't
get my
know.
beauty sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's the question.
of course, it's very scary. Also because I'm a new writer right now, I have many more fears because I don't know if I'm going to be accepted or not. But it takes time to kind of understand. You know, for me, the most important thing is right now who I write with because I'm going to learn everything from them. You know, since I'm at the teething phase of it right now. I could land up writing with the wrong people and learning absolutely the wrong way of, though I don't believe there's any particular right way or wrong way, but I think a very good teacher for me is one of the most important things, which is why I'm I'm starting with the co-writing films. So I write with my directors and I observe and I learn a lot from them. But the few projects that I've written, I think the biggest fear of being a girl or a non-girl, the nightmare that you have is that you work so hard to write a script and then you're just hoping that your actors can do justice to it. Because, you know, like they said that you could have given 100% to the script, but then if a wrong actor comes on board and, you know, I mean, I won't give an example or anything, but...
yeah, we get it. We get it.
Really wanting those, don't go this scene.
Okay,
give the names like we all know
The initials at least.
Yeah, you just say due respect.
You know, like actors on screen, sometimes they'll just say something and you've not written that and you watch it and you're just like, oh my God. Obviously, clearly the audience is watching it and saying, you know, what kind of a writer is this? But it's, you can't stand up and say, excuse me, I did not write that.
Yeah,
So I think that's the biggest fear is that.
Let me ask the most senior person here, Robin Ji. Let me begin by asking you, sir, senior most writer on the round table we have today. As a kid, we all aspire to be, even if it is related to the film industry, it's always being an actor or grow up to be a director, or if you have more money, you grow up to be a producer for all you know. But was there a notion as a teenager that I would only want to pursue writing?
No, I wanted to be a cricketer. I was too fat.
Okay.
So, and then I was most educated in the family. BSc, by the way.
Oh,
And
wow.
rest of the family is inter sons. Mahesh, Mukesh, everyone. My father was non-metric, but he directed 100 films. So, I never wanted to, I wanted to prove them that, look, there is thing outside the industry also. But ultimately they were right. I wanted to be a director though.
So what was that pivotal moment in your life where you decided, okay, I want to pursue this now?
Yeah, my friend one day told me, look, you belong to film industry, why don't you go there? Because I used to change my job every 6 months. And I was married. I had no money. My wife was earning more than me. So he one night at 2 o'clock told me, Robin, you belong to film industry, tu udhar ja. So next day I called a friend of my father and told him I want to join film industry.
Nice.
So he said, come over. And I started as a assistant production manager. Because there I used to get money. And apprentice assistant director, no money. And that's how it started. 1972. When maybe all of you were not born.
I was not born.
I was 5-year-old.
I was not
I was a 5-year-old.
I would be born after 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay, you're younger, Milap. It's okay.
Yeah.
He's the youngest on the team.
Is the youngest on the table?
I don't know.
He's claiming to be right now. Let's
Yeah.
How old are you?
ouch, we're getting into this one. Okay, let me change this topic.
I'm younger.
Okay, in that.
Yeah.
So having said that, younger. What about you? You're looking. I mean, she's
always
beautiful.
wanted to be a writer.
She is.
We don't have beautiful writers in our industry.
I always want to be a writer. Actually, I had no clue that I wanted to be a writer. I got very fascinated towards ads. I love watching ads. It's like I used to watch ads between shows, you know, rather than being the other way around. And I came to Bombay to study advertising in Xavier's, and I got a job at O&M after that. But I couldn't do ads. It was just, you know, ad agencies, how it work, O&M, like from 9 till 2 in the morning or whatever. Cutting the long story short, I started writing in O&M, and somehow I became their in-house model. free में से कराओ, you know. Pawns का script लिखा है तुमने, अच्छा तुम Pawns के ad में थोड़ा कर लो, you know. And then slowly and slowly I started getting paid for it. So somewhere my profession was getting a little confused. Like, you know, I was writing and then I was acting and I was writing and I was acting. But then I think about 1 year back, I figured that writing is what I need to do, and you cannot do two things together. It's not possible. So yeah, now I've finally gone back to what I wanted to do.
Has anyone done two things together besides writing?
Try to direct.
I have done production and writing together. Ashiki, Sadak, Dilake Mantane.
On those films you were still into the production and
production also, Swayam, Daddy. Yeah, production also and writing. Writing happened to me accidentally. So.
As a kid?
Actually, I've done a lot of things.
A lot of things.
I've done crazy stuff. So I've done hotel management. I've been a chef. I have choreographed for fashion shows. So if it's I can understand where she comes from when she says that there's a mix-up and you don't know where you're going or what you're doing. I think we all undergo that phase where you're seeking for that line, that maybe this is what you want to do. But I think deep down I knew that I'm going to write. I think that came through when you're writing these essays in school, and you know your essays were slightly more imaginative than some other kids who used to find essay writing the most traumatizing. You get it. So you need to, exactly.
And you thought essay writing was the best part of it.
You know, I remember one. It's a very strange thing. I think that was the moment where I knew it. It's that quintessential autobiography of a coin, which your teacher says, of a coin. And you know, when your teacher ends up giving you, like, you get a special mention and saying, the one that Mushtaq wrote, okay, see how he began that. So I remember that coin was, I started with the sound of the coin, and the coin is in a gutter. And he's speaking from the gutter. And I ended up telling the story of a coin through that.
So that's more of a screenplay than an essay.
Exactly. It's imagination.
I don't know any other point.
So
I was so bad essay, out of 10 I used to get 2.5, 3, not more than that.
Strangely, I knew about the coin and gutter also. So for me, it worked. It worked, and I knew that from there onwards that I was going to write. And I think one was just looking for a chance and move towards the industry. And I began as a journalist. So I was an editor of a film magazine too. So I think I just kept on seeking and finally ended up where I had to settle.
You were still in the profession as a writer?
I knew
you kept on writing it?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
I met him as a
journalist also. So, yeah.
But it was still a writing thing?
Absolutely.
What about you?
Well, I was in the jewelry profession for a while because I come from the Govindas Bhimji Zaveri family, and my dad and my whole family is in jewelry. So first of all, I wanted to be a writer. There was like, "Tu pagal ho gaya hai, writer thela leke ghumta hai, tu bhooke marega." Ye wo, there was the whole filmy drama, and I was seeing a girl that time, and my father actually slapped me in front of the girl, saying, "You will starve with him if you stay with him."
You were looking for a nightmare?
That should have been the answer.
But bhooke to abhi bhi mar rahi hai.
मुझे देख के लग रहा है. So I did that for a while, and I was never happy in it, and I was fascinated with films since I was a child. And the way he said, the essay writing, I remember the first poem I ever wrote in class. You know, I remember it till today. And
you want to recite it for us?
No, I don't recite the poem. Please, I wrote it in the 3rd standard. I can't recite it now.
You'll be judged.
I'll be judged, yeah. But I guess but after that I was in Jai Hind College, and they had a lot of inter-college dramatics, and there's this festival Malhar in Jaipur. So I wrote for that. I wrote for other. There's a thing called Copwood at Bharatiya Udaya Bhavan. I won best writer there, all Bombay. So then I felt that I can write. Mushtaq, look at me.
This one I did.
This one didn't know. So I guess, but actually, confession, I actually wanted to be an actor first. But I put on too much weight.
All we have to wait for Milap is to lose his weight right now.
And then we're launching
There you are.
Then we'll be writing for him.
So no problem. So this script we don't have any stress with.
और तू कभी भी घुसेगा नहीं लाइंस में, तेरे को मालूम है ना? कभी नहीं घुसेगा, जो लाइन देगा तू बोलेगा.
We already have a production guy. We have directors. So you'll be.
I have acted in a couple of
I
films.
directed
You have?
There is one scene.
Which
I
one?
directed
Shankar Beats. So did I. One scene, no?
We all have acted.
Ek scene upon kiya.
Okay, we are coming to that.
Oh God.
But as a kid, again, you guys.
We had a fascination for music.
Oh,
We shifted from Bombay to Bangalore. We were in Bangalore till 98.
Yeah, about 12 years in Bangalore.
तो वहाँ पे बस वो कीड़ा था. Actually, I got married और काम कुछ नहीं था.
So you
तो
are
pressure आ गया.
musicians? You guys are musicians?
Yeah, we started as
Yeah.
lyricists.
Started off.
Lyricist.
Songwriter.
Songwriter.
You can remember the song also, M Bolero. M
Munna Bhai.
Bolero.
That was
Bolero.
our first.
That was our first
Oh, okay.
national
Song. So definitely we studios में घुस के.
और गाने सुनाते थे.
Huh, that's interesting. Dada, good you reminded me. We used to roam around with the plastic tub. जहाँ से कपड़े नहीं धोते. Tub.
Yeah.
We used to put that plastic tub in a bag, and me and Farhad used to stand outside the studio, and we used to go and tell the director or the actor, काम चाहिए, गाना दो या मजदूरी दो.
So Salman Khan, Govinda, they know us actually इस तरह.
In fact, गोविंदा ने एक चीज अच्छी बोली थी, जब भी आप कामयाब हो गया, जब भी आपको ब्रेक मिलेगा, तो टब को है ना, लिविंग रूम में डाल दे. That's a showpiece. Don't forget that tub.
So where's the tub now?
It's very much in the house, but not in the living room. I'll be very honest, but in the house. In the bathroom.
It's in the bathroom.
And as I said, as a
We have a
kid,
line in the film. Tub ने बना दी जोड़ी.
Oh, that's nice. Amazing.
or as you said, no, as a kid, again, just saying yes to Dada. I always wanted to become a cricketer. I've been presented awards through Mr. Sunil Gavaskar, who's given me a best fielder in this body. In this weight, I've played cricket and I've achieved that.
Inzima Mollak will be proud.
Yeah, absolutely, but it's okay. So, always wanted to be a cricketer, but I would like to say and share with my friends here right now. As we say, no, अपना inspiration क्या है?
Yeah.
तो सब बोलते हैं, you know, ये writer, ये किताब, ये जो भी है. I'll be very honest and tell you, my inspiration in life are two things. Films. One, that's my portfolio. Second is my brother, younger. He's 7 years younger to me. His writing inspired me to become a writer. So this is, I want to share it candid. First time I'm saying this actually. I've never said to him also. You are hearing for the first time. True style, you know, it's all there. So it all happened that way.
It's happening all on
Absolutely.
Friday.
अंदर की बात मैंने तेरे को बता दी.
That's nice. That's really. But is there a weird? No. The following question is that when you guys are so much soaked into an idea which is just given birth, right? How much of it continues for a while? Do you need a break? Do you want to sleep and ponder over it? Do you have to go out of your pad to get a motivation? How does that work?
I'll tell you from my experience. Whenever there is a problem in a script, or I'm thinking, I go to bed with that, and invariably I find a solution, and I sleep.
That's rare.
So moment I find a solution, and I find it mostly either in the bed I have found the solution, or in the loo.
Loo is a favorite.
Loo is a favorite.
But I think it's your. I think the loo becomes that favorite place where the muse visits you, because I think you're extremely vulnerable, and you're, I think, doing nothing else but just doing what you're doing in the loo, and
you flush out all bad ideas.
All the shit keep on saying. So you know where the toilet humor is coming from.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know why the tub is in the loo?
Yeah, बहुत time गुजारता है.
So it's a loo thing. It's a loo thing.
I do grandmasti on the pot.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to tell us.
No, I think I would like to.
The title भी ऐसा था ना, so he has to be on the board.
Actually, whenever you are in a block, I sometimes feel like he said he could go to sleep and wake up with a solution.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes I feel when you're soaked in a story and you're lost in some place there, or there's an elephant in the room and you don't know how to encounter that, I think you can exit that story and suddenly go to something else, and you go somewhere else, maybe resolve that, and when you come here, you just have a brand new perspective, and you find a solution, because the capacity to just disconnect gives you the answer. Maybe the stress, actually, every time we as writers say, when you have a deadline pending, you have to, it just won't come. I'm telling you, it just won't come. Sometimes that affects you big time. But you exit, come back, and you've got the solution. You got the answer. I personally feel sometimes it works like that.
Often it has worked with me. Even if you don't know whether it's a right scene or not, just write it down.
Right.
The writer's job is to write.
Yeah, true.
Write it, read it. If you don't like it, tear it out. But if you write, you find a solution.
So I narrate what I do, and it's something I'm stuck with now. I like narrating it to my family or to my wife or my younger brother or a friend. Because sometimes when you speak out what you've written, and you get a reaction from someone. If I've written a line that I think is funny or I'm not sure whether will it be funny, is it too vulgar, or is it too over smart, I narrate it to people and I get feedback. I think that's great. Like directors have this habit of taking writers to Khandala and different places. I personally don't. I don't like that because I feel very constrained in an environment where I've been made to sit and say, "अब 2 दिन के लिए तुम बैठ लिखो, क्या क्या लिखो."
ऐसा लग रहा है कि आपको हाउस अरेस्ट किया गया है और आप कुछ सोच किया।
हाँ, सोच किया, लिख किया।
Style of writing, each one you should go through. I'm sure we all have different ones. Like there is a misnomer or a myth that a writer needs to be in an absolutely quiet place with himself soaked in. It's pure rubbish because I only sit in a coffee shop and I'm only inspired with the smell of coffee and there's just halchal and there's ronak and there's people coming in, going out. The buzz keeps you awake, man. Otherwise, the job of just sitting alone can be quite.
It works.
It just puts you to sleep, man. You can go to sleep.
It's like a bouncing board for it.
No, and you need your mom coming in, saying something, going out, meeting your dad, talking to your brother, roaming around, doing some time passing TV for half an hour.
Yeah, it works differently for everyone.
Has there been a moment in your life where you just eloped out of that town or whatever and just cut off?
No,
This is just a notion.
That also might work for somebody.
It's one of those irritating things, like on your birthday, everybody ends up giving you a pen. It's the most irritating thing.
We don't use pens.
So many pens, man.
Exactly.
Using laptops, I just want to trash them.
I believe very strongly, and I tell all my writing friends, at the end of the day, remember you are writing a film.
True.
You are not rewriting the Bible. Oh, Mahabharata.
सही बात.
When the history of world cinema will be written, your 500 crore film will be only a dot.
True.
Very true. So don't take yourself too seriously. कि यार मालूम नहीं है कहानी लिखनी
बदलना है कुछ बदलना है दुनिया में.
But technically that's supposed to be, we all need to be aware of it simply because decades and decades would go, we would just be dots. I'm sure if you look at this same place many years ago, like you were just discussing, there must have been other dots taking their work, their art form seriously. But we are just doing our job right now and doing it to the maximum
ability that you can.
that we have right now.
People say लोनावाला जाओ, sit there, think. मैं है ना शांति से सोच ही नहीं सकता जब तक हम लोग बकबक नहीं करते बोल ना फरक ये सुन ना ये इधर से निकले अरे नहीं है फालतू है ये जब तक मैं नहीं सुनता हूँ
thought it's about the reaction so definitely we are too so
I write with Tushar Hiranandani office screenplay he and me writes office
like we have worked
bounce board बहुत जरूरी है
me Sajid-Farhad we have worked on about 3 4 films. The sitting is fun. It's fun. I mean we are clicking all kind of jokes.
यानी कोई बाहर से देखता होगा ना दादा बोलते ये लोग राइटर्स हैं
ये काम कर
ये लोग ने सब फिल्म लिखी है
Actually, the work gets, it needs to get great amount of fun.
Fun, yeah, it's very important.
I know what
sit for 3 hours daily suppose एक सेशन है 3 घंटे का बैठते हम लोग काम 15 मिनट ही होता है
बस
बाकी सब because वो गैप बीच में देने के
बात होती है दादा क्या हुआ अच्छा दादा ऐसा हो
15 मिनट के काम में अगर आपको 10 दिन 5 मिनट का सिनेमा मिला नहीं
बस
perfect.
More than enough.
More than enough. So ultimately how many days you are sitting?
You might even celebrate for 2 days after that.
Then we sit regularly every day we 5 minutes. So ऐसे करते 12-24 दिन में तो 2 घंटे का सिनेमा हो जाता है बाकी गाने आ जाते हैं फाइट मास्टर जैसे
बराबर हम लोग ने रोहित शेट्टी की फिल्म भी काफी की तो एक्शन भी आ जाता है
What about you? What have you done when you were stuck somewhere?
I don't think silence works for me at all. I doze off. And like everyone, I think everyone is saying the same thing here. You need fun, you need the buzz, you need the pulse, you need to step out, go for a walk, listen to some music. Sometimes a drink might help, going out with friends might help, conversations help. It could be anything. You know, you never know. I don't know how my climax is going to come. It'll just pop up at any point and I get an answer. It could be here, it could be anywhere. So I don't believe in any hard fast rule of how it works.
Movies help me. I love watching.
Same here. When
I'm getting an idea. I love watching.
Reading
one
book, watching films. You don't know what's going to come from where.
Yeah, watch film, read books. I mean,
Name one movie, all of you guys, we'll go with Milap. Name one movie that is still stuck in your mind, which also inspires you more than just movies, as a writer or whatever in the craft. It's changed you as a human being.
I've worked on, or
No, it can be any. Can be any.
जो रह गया
Which has changed.
Yeah, I'm not
the
taking my own
movie that you
films.
were working on.
Thank you for that advice. You see, it's a very funny, weird film. But there's a film called Mr. Natwala.
Yes.
You know, and when I was growing up, my grandmom was a big Amitabh Bachchan fan. So, and on every Independence Day, somehow, I don't know why, we used to watch Mr. Natwala. I don't understand this why. It was just something, like she would somehow end up always getting Mr. Natwala.
What a traumatic childhood.
No, but I loved it. And then the funny part is, I owned only 5 cassettes as a child. And I never saw a single English movie till I entered college. And the cassettes were Sholay, Vidhata, Jai Santoshi Ma, Chalti Ka Naam Gaadi, and Daku Hasina. Okay,
Vidhata and Daku Hasina were censored, right? That time?
No, they were not censored. They were proper. So, Mr. Natwala was the film where I thought was the most perfect film because there was humor, there was action, there was heroism, and I just loved that film. For me, it was this is cinema. Where there's one guy who ऐसा इतना बड़ा चोर है कि वो सिर्फ सुन के तिजोरी खोल देता है, शेर से लड़ता है, मतलब कुछ भी कर सकता है और मतलब I just loved that film. So
ridiculous setting. I mean, पैसे वाले लोग पहाड़ पे रहते हैं, गरीब लोग पैसे वाले नीचे रहते हैं. हमारे वहाँ हिल पे पैसे वाले रहते.
So what kind of
it made me realize that how much fun this world of cinema is, where you can imagine anything. Like, I don't think Amit ji can fight a tiger. I don't think, but he fought that tiger, and he did the most unbelievable things in that film, but he did with so much conviction. And I was like, this is the world I want to one day belong to. I want to...
The world of Wonderland.
Well, yeah, I want to one day write films or be part of cinema where people are entertained as much as I have been every Independence Day. So.
What about you, Mushtaq? One film? Can be any, Hollywood, any regional cinema, whatever. Porn?
जो नहीं देखी वही बोलो. जो नहीं देखी वही बोलो.
For me, I think it would be a movie.
Which you have mentioned in your slam book? Not really.
No, I think it would be a movie called Chalbaz.
Oh, lovely.
I love Chalbaz.
Beautiful film.
How much fun I watched this movie.
क्या characters थे यार?
Super duper. It was actually like what I wanted to ask him was what did that make you believe? That movie.
Correct.
For me, it made me believe that you can tell a story well.
Wow.
You just need to tell a story. We all end up telling stories.
Yeah.
It needs to be told in the most entertaining fashion.
Yeah.
That's exactly why you're going to write a movie. That's exactly why so many people are going to come together to make that film happen, right? So you have one job to make an entertaining film. Chalbaz to me is you can go back to it again and again and just have a smile.
Yeah.
It's great acting. It's great direction. It's ahead of its times, even at the time when it was shot.
Yeah.
And the whole effort is just such a... I think it's an entertaining endeavor, which I feel. Chalbaz, that's why, is a complete package for me. It was it was a movie that did the job for me.
And
the music, I remember.
Sunday day. I will never forget that line.
And the songs, and everything was an integral part. It didn't look like the song. हम इसको ना 19-20 से song है नहीं उसने story भी उतना ही ध्यान दिया है, and they've also taken the songs and woven it into it, and it's a complete Hindi movie.
It's a complete package.
Yeah, it's complete.
What about you, you guys? Oh, I'm sure there are different movies.
I feel Amar Akbar Anthony. I mean, I feel masala, entertainer. See, me and Farhad, I'm not saying, due respects, different cinema as we call. I don't know what is different cinema right now. Entertainment movies, that's all I know. Different cinema, parallel cinema. ये नाम जो आया है मेरे को बहुत घबराहट आती है. Art cinema, I don't know.
Indie.
It's multiplex cinema.
हाँ, वो क्या है?
Multiplex. Only about aliens रहते हैं.
Divansh can speak for Indie
films.
So it was Amar Akbar Anthony. हम देख रहे हैं वहाँ conviction director का एक ही खून के बोतल में तीनों को खून दिया जाता है. तीनों को खून गुजर रहा है, which is impossible medically. But you clap. You clap and you say brilliant.
उसमें एक और shot है वो जब खून दे रहा है ना, आप background देखो. विनोद खन्ना के सर के पीछे टेम्पल है, अमित जी के पीछे चर्च है और ऋषि जी के पीछे मतलब एक विंडो में पीछे बैकग्राउंड में
खत्म हो गया ना। लॉजिक्स आप छोड़ दो ना, करिश्मे होते तो हुआ है। आई मीन ऑल दो स्मॉल थिंग्स, यू नो।
Even the climax of the film, वो लोग गुंडों डेन पे आते हैं और तीनों नाम बोल रहे हैं, मैं अमर
का गाना है और वो मालूम नहीं है, विलन को मालूम नहीं पड़ रहा है कि अमर है अकबर अंदर नहीं, बट दैट इज व्हाट एंटरटेनमेंट इज।
बट दैट्स मनमोहन देसाई, अनहोनी को होनी कर दे, दैट्स मनमोहन देसाई और होनी को
ब्रिलियंट एंटरटेनमेंट जिस तरह वो पेश करते थे, आई फील इनक्रेडिबल, आई मीन सुपर।
You tell a story and say it with so much conviction. Absolutely. And that's it. So he believed in that and he made the whole everybody who watched the film believe it. So that's the suspension of disbelief. और इसके बाद आप
his actor told him, Amit ji and Vinod Khanna, this is ridiculous. What are you doing? He said, shut up. Let me shoot and then see the reaction when my film will release. And this is a fact. There is a logic to it, emotional logic. माँ को बेटों का खून मिलता, बात नहीं मिलेगा।
आंखें आएंगी, आंखें उड़ के आएंगी, आंखें
साईं बाबा के हाथ,
साईं बाबा के हाथ में, बट खत्म, आप ताली बजाते हो, खड़े होके चिल्लर करेंगे।
आज भी आप जब पिक्चर देखते हैं, suddenly in the background score, if an azan is played, श्लोक is played, or the Gurbani is played, you have a tendency, आपका goosebumps जो आता है, वो तो goosebump guaranteed है। तो अगर goosebump आपका guaranteed है ही, तो there you have it. You are going to be absorbed in a story. I'm going to give you that emotion, and you're going to feel that.
We are religiously soaked in our culture.
Don't forget that even like a few years back, I was part of Hey Baby, which Sajid directed. There was a scene when the baby is dying, and he wrote a scene that that Fardeen, who's a Muslim in the film, he prays namaz.
Yeah.
And everyone in the sittings, the assistant, nahi, ye outdated hai, ye wo hai. He was so convinced. He said no. He said, let any critic tell me I'm outdated or I'm this thing. He's saying I want Fardeen to pray namaz and I want the baby to open its eyes after the namaz is prayed. He did it with conviction and the result was there. The film was a super hit. And I've seen fathers moist-eyed in that scene when he's praying namaz for the child's safety. So I feel we are yet humans. We have the same emotions. We are just okay. No, we are cool. We are different. We belong to this new age. But eventually, like he said, जब filmy music बजता है ना, सब नाचते हैं.
Emotion कभी फेल हुआ है? मेरे को एक फिल्म बताओ कौन सा इमोशन फेल होता है? और
इमोशन और माइथोलॉजी जब करेक्टली यूज होते हैं तो फेल होते ही नहीं। I remember I was a kid and I was sitting, my father was discussing with some writers. In his film there was a situation कि बच्चे को वो रानी पानी में बहा देती है क्योंकि दुश्मन वाला मरने आ रहा है और बच्चा पानी में बह रहा है और प्रे करती है कि हे गणेश भगवान मेरे बेटे की रक्षा करना। मेरे फादर ने बोला यहाँ पे एक हाथी का क्लोज डालेंगे। तो मैं भी about 10-12 हाथी गणेश के नाम है, गणेश भगवान यानी हाथी। राइटरों को बोला हाँ सर डाल दो। When I saw that film, वो जब गणेश भगवान इसकी रक्षा और हाथी का एक क्लोज आया, ऑडियंस क्लैप्ड एंड हाथी ने जाके बच्चे को बताया था। So there is no logic to it now because its mythology is used very well. That is what Manmohan Desai did. He used the mythology.
True, because your conscious and subconscious correlates to what is the image that's being given.
Even the audience want that child to be saved.
सर मैं correct. आपका सिर्फ 30 सेकंड लूँगा। एक गुजराती फिल्म है, मैं नाम भूल गया ना तो अभी मिल जाता, वो तो गुजरातियों की भूल गई।
ये जो अभी बोलेंगे ना उसमें
हंसी आएगी। आप हंसी आएगी, मैं उसका रिएक्शन मैं आपको बाद में बताता हूँ। एक फिल्म है जहाँ पे विलन घुसता है, बड़ा वो ड्रामेटिक वैसे कुंडी लगाता है और लड़की सामने रेप सीन शुरू होता है, ये टपाटा खींचता है, फाड़ता है ब्लाउज, इनक्रेडिबल, एंड शी क्राइज एंड सेज नाग देवता मुझे बचा लो। एंड वी सी बिल में से ना नाग निकलता है और नाग आता है, विलन बैकअप होता है, वो नाग आता है, विलन बैकअप होता है, डस लेता है, अब ये निकल गया, अब कहानी शुरू। नाग देवता टर्न होते और वो हीरोइन ऐसा खड़ी है और लेफ्ट में देखती है राखी है और राखी उठाती है और नाग देवता को रक्षा बंधन है। अब यहाँ खत्म नहीं हुई कहानी सर, वो नाग जाता है बिल में, वापस 5 रुपए की नोट लाता है, रख के फिर निकलता है। सर ये शॉट है और उसके बाद कैमरा पैन्स टू द ऑडियंस एंड ऑडियंस इन गुजरात दे क्राइड। दिस इज अ फैक्ट। ये जो 5 रुपया लेके आके छोड़ा ना, उसने भाई का कर्तव्य निभाया, उसने बहन का कर्तव्य निभाया। दिस इज अ शॉट मुश्ताक।
But it's
I never knew.
No. For me, this worked on all levels. But even if we had not got the 5 rupees, मैंने सोचा भाई ने तो निभाया ना, उसको बचा दिया.
बिल्कुल खत्म करो बस खत्म.
What part of the snake did she tie the Rakhi on? I want to know.
5 रुपए राखी का cost भी निकालना है. कैसे?
But I think so conviction worked.
Conviction
I think eventually
ask a woman tying a Rakhi on a snake. Close to cockroach.
What part of the snake did she tie the Rakhi on?
अच्छा वो चले जाना था ना राखी लेके. नहीं बेटा मैं आता हूँ अब.
okay, what about you? One film that
You guys are gonna laugh because it means nothing, but
you might as well.
Okay.
Actually, it was a lot of things. It was a play called Jinne Lahore Na Vekhya, which I thought was I wanted to tell a story like that. There were.
But you're going to choose a movie, not going to choose many.
There were so many things. I don't think I had that ting tong moment like, "Arey, abba, I want to be a writer."
No, we always
Not only as a writer,
It's allowed. Even if
as a
you've not
writer.
seen it also. As I told you before.
No, I think movies don't inspire you just as a writer.
Yeah.
I think it can inspire you in any way.
Touch you in any way.
Yeah, just one.
But maybe one movie that you still remember.
I think the only film that I can watch again and again is Lamhe. For some reason, I know people don't approve of that film much.
No, it's me.
Maybe I have a thing for older men or something. I don't know. Kuvarji.
If we psychologically
Kuvarji.
analyze it, we can okay.
Devaj is a green.
Okay.
I just suddenly developed white beard all of
I'm older.
थोड़ा ऐसा मैं तो हूँ.
So yeah, I love that film. I don't know. I think the emotions, the drama, and everything, the music, the way it was shot, and acting and characters in terms of Anupam Kher or the other girl or whatever. I mean, it's just one of there's so many there. I mean, I can't even.
What made you believe, apart from the older men, younger girl aspect, what about the movie made you believe, like movies?
I love the story. I love the story. I
think the relationship between the father and the daughter
was a great story. You know, it was different. It was ahead of its time. I think then way ahead of its time.
Ahead of time.
I don't know if it will be accepted even today. You know, like because she's almost your daughter's age. But I loved the story. I thought it was brilliant.
But there was a very good take on Lamhe. Someone had told me that there was controversy that she was like his daughter. But someone told me this one thing that in the writing, if he had just not shown her growing up in his house.
Yeah, because then
where he's paying for her upbringing in his dime.
I agree.
After, even if she resembled Sridevi, people would have accepted it. But the fact that he raised her in his own house, she lived and he paid for her education, upbringing, that is what people got offended.
Exactly.
Okay, ifs and buts. I mean,
in fact, I was just about to come to that right now. When she said that, he said this. Just imagine if we just change the whole parameters and if Lamhe was the biggest blockbuster ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Let's we all write movies.
Yeah.
Just imagine if it is. Would we ever discuss, like before she's talking about Lamhe, it's so strange, she ended up saying, I'll say it, I know it didn't do well, it didn't do well, but I like the story.
Yeah, and some people would agree with
it. She ended up saying that.
But he's so, because like Sholay has one of the
bizarre
biggest
things
flaws
happening
ever.
in whatever.
Yeah, it's so random. I would expect Lamhe to do really well, but then it didn't. So it's just so erratic, you know. It's scary.
But how movies are open to interpretation simply because they have not been kissed by success. It's so sad, but because the story could touch her heart, make her believe this is movies. So it could be anything. So it could be Amar Akbar Anthony, it could be Sholay, it could be Jason Toshima. That can touch your soul and tell you this is the way stories need to be told. It speaks to me. It may not speak to millions. So that's
like
what
Sholay, I was saying Sholay is about कि गब्बर को पकड़ना है जिंदा या मुर्दा. In the pre-climax when Dharamji is tied and Amitji comes on the hillock and says gun pointed, छोड़ दो. They free Dharamji and Hemaji. Dharamji picks up Kartus. All the men have their hands raised, including Gabbar. Amitji's got the gun. They don't move till they escape. And Dharamji runs away with Hemaji. My question is, why couldn't he just take Gabbar and just leave with Hemaji? Because Amitji had the gun trained. Nobody was going to shoot. But nobody asked this question because obviously you felt when Amitji died and Sholay became what it became. But if you ask me, isn't this a screenplay? Isn't it an error in screenplay? He could have just picked up Gabbar and left. But no one questions it because it's
Picture कैसे बनती है अगर नहीं करते तो?
Exactly.